important to know where our money is being spent is because let's just think about your business's budget or your family budget. You can't prioritize how you spend your money if you don't know where you're spending it. And you certainly, while we have to reduce in a big way the overall amount of money we're spending, we need to prioritize the money that we do spend. So it needs to be prioritized towards securing the border, for example, or having the best military on the face of the planet. And I believe it needs to be prioritized around mental health, because we are costing ourselves even more if we don't do that. That starts with things like criminal justice reform. You know, we have the highest incarceration rates in the world. 2/3 of the people in jail are there for non-violent offenses, most of them drug-related. This is costing all of us, ladies and gentlemen. So, young man, I can assure you that I understand in a deeply personal way why this nation needs to care for everyone, and we need to invest in caring for and treating mental health issues. Thank you for asking that question. Yes, sir.
This is more campaigning, how you're going to get your name out there. I'm sure you remember when you ran for the Senate in 2010 in California. You were second place in the polls, but then Sarah Palin came along and endorsed you. That got you the nomination. Do you think it's possible for you to get another endorsement from her during this primary?
So the question was about the Senate race in California and an endorsement by Sarah Palin and winning the primary. So first, that Senate race, obviously I lost the general election. If my husband Frank were here, he would say, he still says it occasionally, I just can't believe you lost to Barbara Boxer. But in any event, we did lose that general election. But in the course of that, we won more Republican votes, more Democrat votes, and more independent votes than virtually any Republican running anywhere in the nation. That's how big California is. I learned a lot in that race. I learned you have to unify a party, to your point, before you can go on. But running as a pro-life conservative in California, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you don't do that unless you really mean it, okay? Running as a pro-life conservative in California, I still won more Democrat and independent votes than a lot of Republicans around the nation. In other words, we don't have to change our principles to win. Now, why am I telling you all that? Because here's the other thing I learned. Ground games matter. When our people don't come out to vote, we lose. In California, yes, I won the primary. Sarah Palin's endorsement was hugely helpful, and endorsements matter hugely, and that's why I'm so appreciative for Donna and others here in this state. And I will be appreciative of any and all who are willing to step forward and endorse me. But what happened in California is what happened in our national election in 2012. The Democrats came out to vote and our people didn't. We had 6 million people who did not vote in 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, I will do my part. I promise you I will do my part. I will work hard every day, day after day, and perhaps you know me well enough now by now to know I will not falter. But you must do your part, and you have a real part to play. You can help me by going on to carlyforpresident.com. You can help me most especially by talking to every friend and neighbor and colleague and person you work or worship with. You can talk to them now and keep talking to them so that they understand that they will make a difference. This was intended to be a citizen government of, for, and by the people. And what that means is citizens like you who care enough to show up here and sit in this wonderful restaurant, but it's a little hot in here right now and most of you aren't eating. You care enough to show up and listen to a candidate on a Sunday afternoon, but not everybody cares that much. You can make a huge difference to make sure that everybody does care enough. So, if you want to help me, yes, endorsements are important. But I'll tell you what's even more important, every single one of you walking out of here and saying, we are going to help elect Carly Fiorina to the White House in 2016.
I wanted to thank you for your opposition to TPA, and since our Republican-controlled Congress gave Obama fast-track authority on the TPP and those other two secret trade deals, which they weren't even allowed to read. I mean, what do you see going forward happening?
So the question was about TPA and TPP. And, you know, as I said publicly at the time, several times, I said, look, I'm for free and fair trade. I am. Because if it's free and it's fair, we're going to win. We have the best products. We have, more importantly, we have the most competitive workers in the world. But I know a lot of trade deals that aren't fair, and they're not free. And when I don't know what's in something, then I don't know what's in it. But what I do know is this administration is lousy at negotiation. Really lousy. So my question was, and has been, show us what's in this. So it was amazing to me to see all these Republicans rushing to get this through when we don't know what's in it, and neither do they. You know what this is called, honestly, ladies and gentlemen? It's called crony capitalism. I led a big company. $90 billion almost by the time I left. And I know that if I didn't like what government was doing, we could hire the lawyers, the accountants, the lobbyists to influence, to figure out how to make all that complexity work for us, but the 9-person real estate firm cannot. So, what we actually need is a president of the White House who will be transparent. What about the Iran? Yes, what about the Iran deal? So, it's why I said the second phone call I would make would be to the supreme leader of Iran. You know, here's the terrible truth, ladies and gentlemen. Even if Congress succeeds in stopping this deal, and I hope earnestly that they will, because it will be a loud message around the world, to Iran, to our allies, as well as to the businesses in this country who want to rush in and make money in Tehran. But realistically, the rest of the world has already moved on. China and Russia were never on our side of the table, and they are rushing into that economy as we speak. Europe's moved on. And so it's critical that we stop the money flow, because Iran will use the money for terrible purposes. They already are. Let me just say, President Obama violated every rule of negotiation. That's why I know it's a bad deal. Forget the fact that we have secret deals. I mean, we do have secret deals. We now know Iran has a secret deal with the IAEA, and never mind, we're not going to have inspections. But the reason I know it's a bad deal is because he violated every rule. Rule number one, I've negotiated a lot of deals. Rule number one, know what your goals are, and do not sign a deal until your goals have been met. So he had very clear goals. We haven't met a single one. Rule number two, walk away from the table. And my rule is you got to walk away 3 times before you know you got a deal. Because unless you walk away, no one knows you really care about your goals. And rule number 3, you never celebrate a deal until you have the deal you want. So when President Obama walks into the Rose Garden and says, we have a strategic framework deal, what do the Iranians say? We got him. He's publicly committed, and they spent the next 4 months negotiating a better deal for themselves. So that's what we need to do. That's why I will make that phone call. Okay, I think we have this gentleman right there, and then that will be the last question, because I want to shake some of your hands and say hi. Yes, sir, you're it. Make it a good one. No pressure now.
First of all, I'm Chris from Simpsonville. Thank you for coming. Nice to see you. And my question is about abortion. Do you believe in any exceptions for abortion?
It's a great question. I have supported exceptions. Only because, not because that life isn't any more precious, but because if a woman has been subjected to the violence of rape or incest, I think I am prepared to leave that decision between her and her God. These Planned Parenthood videos are a moment in time to have a different conversation with people. I have been on many television shows talking about this. I truly believe this has nothing to do with whether or not you are pro-life or pro-choice. I am pro-life. I'm sure many of you, if not most of you here, are pro-life, but there are women who are pro-choice, who are horrified by these videos. This now has to do with the character of our nation. And it's an opportunity to have a conversation.
Yeah.
When we see Planned Parenthood employees picking over body parts while exclaiming, "Look, it's a baby," this goes to the core of who we are as a nation. And so I believe now, instead of, very honestly, sir, allowing the Democrats to tangle us up in these conversations about our extreme positions and what our exceptions are, we need to go straight to the heart of the extreme nature of the Democrat platform, which is, it is not a life until it leaves the hospital. We must go straight to the heart of the unbelievable disrespect and disregard for other people's lives, not just those unborn children's lives, but the mothers' lives. Planned Parenthood clinics are sitting in the middle of poor communities of color. This is a targeted activity. It always has been. And if you watch those videotapes, what you will find is they are pushing women into later and later term abortions so that they are more successful in harvesting body parts. This is the heart of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, and we cannot get distracted. We have to go straight at this. No, it's not about women's health. No, it's not about mammograms. No, it's not about pap smears. It is about regard for human life, both the unborn child's and the mother's. Close, but I want to leave you with a last thought, if I may, before I come and shake as many hands as I can. Every wound we have in this nation, and we have many, we've talked about them, the wound of debts and deficits that sacrifice our children's future, the division between Americans. But every wound we have is self-inflicted, and every problem we have can be solved. And so I think every day about what this nation can be, what it will be, with your help. And I think of two of the most powerful symbols of our nation's democracy, Lady Liberty and Lady Justice. Picture in your minds for a moment Lady Liberty. She stands as our nation always must, tall and strong. She is clear-eyed and resolute. She doesn't shield her eyes from the realities of the world, and yet she faces out into the world, which is the way we must always face. And she holds her torch very high, because she knows she is a beacon of hope in a very troubled world. And Lady Justice holds a sword by her side, because she is a fighter. She is a warrior. For the values and the principles that have made this nation great, she holds a scale in her other hand. And with that scale, she is saying to us, all of us are equal in the eyes of God. And so all of us must be equal in the eyes of the law and government, powerful and powerless alike. And she wears a blindfold. And I think she is telling us with that blindfold that it must be true, it can be true, that in this nation, in this century, it truly doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how you start, and it does not matter your circumstances. Here in this nation, every American's life can be filled with the possibilities that come from their God-given gifts, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen.